Marshlands. By Emily Pauline Johnson. Summary. Marshlands is a poem written by Emily Pauline Johnson, a Canadian poet of Mohawk descent. The poem captures the beauty and serenity of marshlands, highlighting their mystical and captivating nature. Johnson describes the marshlands as a place of solitude, where the author finds peace and solace. The imagery in the poem paints a vivid picture of the marshlands, depicting the flora and fauna that inhabit this serene environment. The poet emphasizes the sense of connection with nature and the spiritual experience of being in such a tranquil setting. Overall, Marshlands celebrates the natural world and the emotional connection one can feel with it. About the author. Emily Pauline Johnson was born and raised on Six Nations Reserve near Brantford, Ontario. A poet and performer, Johnson was the daughter of a Mohawk chief and his English wife. She was educated mainly at home, studying both English literature and Mohawk oral history and legend. Johnson's poetry often uses the tone and structure of English poetry to convey native legends and beliefs with a dramatic intensity. Her first collection of poetry, The White Wampum, 1895, includes both poems and tales. Two more collections of poetry followed, as well as 3 collections of fiction. Question 1. Read the extracts and answer the questions. Extract 1. A thin wet sky and oozing lichens cling. Question 1. Why has the speaker described the lip as sun-lost? How has it lost the sun? Answer. Marshlands portrays a pristine picture of marshlands untouched by the human activities. Silence characterizes the marshlands, making the imagery more vivid. The first stanza describes the sky that is looking down at the marshes. The lip is sun-lost because the sun has almost vanished from the sky. It is cloudy with an impending storm. Question 2. What does the sun-lost lip meeting the brim of the marsh look like? Answer. The thin wet sky yellows at the rim when the sun-lost lip touches the brim. The poet here is talking about the horizon, which is reflecting some sunlight in contrast to the overcast sky above the marshlands. Question 3. What in the marsh look like large cups of gold? Can you explain why they have been described like that? Answer. The low-lying pools of mud in the swamps are filled with moss and mold. They look like large cups of gold. There are mildews growing in these low-lying pools. The waning sunlight reflects in these pools, making them resemble large cups of gold. Question 4. Why has the wild goose come to the marsh? Where is it going? Answer. The wild goose has come to the marsh looking for shelter for the night. The goose knows that somewhere amongst the rushes and oozing lichens it can find its home. Question 5. Would you describe the images created in the poem as beautiful? Or are they unpleasant? Or does the beauty exist side by side with the unpleasant? Give examples of images from the poem to support your answer. Answer. The imageries created by the poem Marshlands are beautiful, as well as unpleasant. On one hand, the poet describes the low-lying pools as damp and mossy. On the other, she compares them with large cups of gold. She talks about valiant cranes flying over the swamps in search of shelter. The next moment, she depicts lichens clinging to the vegetation. Extract 2. Late cranes with heavy wing, while the marshes sleep. Question 1. Which words from the poem tell us how big the crane is and how fast it is flying? Answer. The word heavy wing tells us that the crane is quite big. Its flight has been described as lazy. This means that the crane was probably not flying very fast. Question 2. How is the fog that comes over the marshes described? Do we know what time of day it is when the fog arrives? Answer. The fog that comes over the marshes has been described as thick, gray, and humid. It is almost night when the fog creeps up around the marshes. We can deduce this from the phrase, "while the marshes sleep." Question 3. What breaks the silence of the marshlands? What do you think is the effect of one lone sound in the expanding stillness of the marshes? Answer. In a nagging monotony, the lizard shrills his tune from among the marshlands. This tune breaks the silence of the swamps. The effect of one lone sound in the infinity of stillness makes the impact of silence profound. It in fact magnifies the silence and eventually gets engulfed by it. Question 4. Have the marshlands changed from the first stanza to the last? Compare how different they look and feel. Answer. The transformation of the marshlands takes place in a short time span, between sunset and nightfall. The poet has experimented with the colors of the marshlands, which turn from yellow to golden, and finally to shadowy gray, when fog enshrouds the wetlands at night. Question 5. Which word describes the movement of twilight? What kind of movement is it? Answer. The word, steals, describes the movement of twilight. It is a fast and instant movement, the way something is stolen in the blink of an eye. Question 6. What creature has twilight been compared to? In what way does twilight look or behave? Answer. Twilight has been compared to a spirit or a ghost. It is shadowy and clandestine. One cannot predict its motive or next course of action. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more updates.